Hello, and welcome back to the Movie Recaps. The film Glass Onion takes its title from a metaphor and comprises multiple layers that the audience can peel back. The audience can become disoriented due to the story's unexpected twists and turns. Please allow us to shed additional light on the subject if Benoit Blanc's final statement left you unanswered question. Billionaire Miles Braun has extended invitations to 5 of his closest friends to accompany them on a trip to his property on an island in Greece. They have all known Braun for a long, giving him credit for their current wealth, popularity, and great careers. The main event is a murder mystery game that takes place throughout the weekend, and Braun will play the part of the victim. Every one of them has their reasons for wanting to kill him. Benoit Blanc, widely regarded as the most excellent investigator in the world, has also been asked to attend. Blanc swiftly solves Miles's phony murder mystery, which leads to the pinnacle of tension surrounding Andy's presence in the main party area. At this point, Andy quits since she can no longer stand the strain. After that, everybody continues drinking, and ultimately they conclude that they will leave the following morning. After taking a drink from Miles's glass, Duke suddenly lost consciousness and passed away. The rest of the terrified gang pointed the finger of guilt squarely at Andy for Duke's passing away. Soon after, the party realizes Duke's weapon has been stolen, and the lights suddenly go out. As the chaos ensues, everyone becomes disoriented and loses track of one another. Blanc is successful in locating Andy, but she is killed by a gunman who maintains their cover throughout the ordeal. Blanc calls the rest of the crew into a room, where he reveals to them that he has discovered the answer to the mystery of how Andy came to his tragic end. The party immediately disperses, and the characters all head off to find Andy despite Benoit begging them to remain together in the same room. Benoit ultimately finds her, but she is hurt, and the other characters fear that she has also been killed in the conflict until he reveals her whereabouts to them. Someone faked Andy's death to make it appear as though she committed suicide, and Andy's twin sister Helen is the one who recruited Benoit Blanc and traveled with him to the island while pretending to be someone else to act as Benoit Blanc's inside man. The film's first major plot twist occurs when it is revealed that one of the crew members faked Andy's death to make it appear as though she committed suicide, and that someone faked Andy's death to make it appear as though she committed. This revelation is generally acknowledged as the movie's most stunning part. After Duke made the connection that Miles was the one who killed Andy and that Miles was the one who shot Helen, Benoit came clean and admitted that Miles was the assailant responsible for Duke's death. The members of the group are brought back together. Miles gives Duke a poison that contains pineapple juice because he knows that Duke has a severe allergy to pineapples and that this sensitivity can be fatal. The use of the juice was, in the end, what led to Duke's death. Andy had halted the development of Clear at Alpha due to safety concerns, so Miles had her removed as CEO. This maneuver was supported by their friends perjuring themselves by testifying that he had single-handedly sketched out the plan for Alpha years ago on a napkin. However, Andy found the original napkin on which she had pinned the concept, and she emailed the other group members a photograph of the proof she had provided along with the email. Helen has a nagging hunch that one of the other members of the group stole Andy's life to protect themselves from being discredited and to gain Miles' favor. Blanc advised Helen to attend Miles' party while pretending to be Andy so that she might assist Miles in his inquiry. Helen agreed to Blanc's recommendation. The information that Andy had passed away was unknown to the general public at the time. Helen assists Blanc as she investigates the motivations behind why each member of the gang is working together to shield Miles from Andy. Lionel and Claire have already bet their good names on Clear. Miles is helping Bertie recover financially from the consequences of using child labor, and Duke is attempting to woo Miles in exchange for a position at Alpha News by using whiskey. Helen learns that each of the other 4 visitors went to Andy's residence on the day she passed away. This information is revealed to her by the other guests. Helen creates a distraction during the party to gain access to the guest rooms and search for Andy's napkin there. Luckily for Andy, the journal she had in her jacket pocket at the time of the shooting was sturdy enough to deflect the bullet. Andy was able to finish the search because Blanc had informed the other visitors that she had died, which gave her permission to look through Miles's office. Blanc had told the other guests that she had passed away. Blanc reveals that he has concluded, based on his investigation, that Miles was the one responsible for killing both of his friends. Andy was murdered by Miles after he found out that she had the napkin, although Duke saw Miles' automobile depart Andy's house before Miles committed the murder. When the news of Andy's death was eventually made public online during the party, Duke realized that Miles was to blame and made an attempt to blackmail him to get on Alpha News. During the party, Andy's death had finally been made public online. Because of this, Miles decides to poison him by taking advantage of the fact that he is allergic to pineapple. And he also steals Duke's revolver so that he can use it to shoot Helen. He did this because he wanted to get revenge for Helen's death at the hands of the Duke. When Helen was at Miles's office, she came across the actual napkin that Andy had used. Because of this, the group can discover the truth about Andy's identity and how she managed to stay alive. By setting fire to the napkin, Miles destroys the only evidence that Andy is the real genius behind the Alpha firm. He also eliminates any potential link that could have connected him to her murder. In addition, the napkin was the only thing that could have tied Miles to her death. Miles, who had been trying to clear his name in this matter, must be feeling tremendous frustration now due to this turn of events. All the individuals who caused a disturbance during the first trial lied under oath during their testimony and committed perjury to protect Miles and ensure that he would continue supporting their ventures financially. The same thing happens again when Helen urges them to back her and reveals that they witnessed Miles burn the napkin, but this time it is because she wants them to. Previously, the same thing had happened. Blanc is powerless to intervene, and every piece of tangible evidence has been eliminated from the investigation. However, just as it seems as though Miles is about to get away with it, the detective's hands. Miles used Lionel and Claire as leverage to get Miles to do what he wanted them to do. Miles is attempting to pin the murder of Blanc on Lionel Towson and Claire DeBella to protect himself. The analogy to the Hindenburg becomes relevant at this point in the discussion. Helen only needs to start a sufficiently large fire to reach the ceiling vents to bring down the glass onion. Once the fire reaches the vents, the onion will explode from the inside out, because the hydrogen fuel drives the entire glass onion. This is the only thing Helen needs to do to bring it down. How can this conclusion serve as justice for Helen and her sister's deaths? The Mona Lisa, which Miles had rented from the Louvre in Paris to support them financially amid the difficult times brought on by the COVID-19 pandemic. After Helen pulls the trick, which removes the protective glass from the artwork, the world's most famous painting is immediately consumed in flames and is lost to the world for all time. The Mona Lisa has a rich history that spans the entirety of humankind's existence on this planet, hence its value extends beyond its monetary value. The money the Mona Lisa is worth is sufficient to bring even the wealthiest man, like Miles, to his financial needs. Consequently, Helen is now able to make things right for her sister. The fact that Miles destroyed the Mona Lisa is enough to warrant his imprisonment, even though she cannot show that he killed Andy, stole the inspiration for Alpha, and created his version of the napkin, or did all this while murdering Duke. Additionally, it results in the loss of his riches, which means he is no longer able to command and blackmail any of the individuals who are interfering with his goals. Because of this, his disruptors eventually turn against him one by one and agree to testify in court that they saw him burn the napkin, grab Duke's gun, and leave Andy's house the night of her death. All of these events occurred while he was under investigation for Andy's murder. All of these occurrences took place in the aftermath of Andy's death. As a result, Miles is held accountable for all the offenses he committed. In contrast, the disruptors walk free after being charged with minor felonies for perjury but are allowed to leave the troubled enterprises and projects they were involved. Benoit Blanc will be able to rejoice in the fruitful conclusion of yet another productive investigation into a puzzling mystery, and Helen will have the pleasure of being vindicated once it is determined that Miles stole the idea from Helen's sister in the first place. Once it is determined that Miles stole the idea from Helen's sister in the first place, Helen will finally be able to enjoy the relief that comes with being acquitted of the crime. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to see more videos like this. Thanks for watching.